had that something in you where you wanted to strive for better. So describe for me, what has your journey been like in life?
The journey it's been very hard because, I was on public assistance, so it was like, at first it was a boundary there. Anybody knows about public assistance, they don't want you to go so far or they're going to cut it off.
You describe yourself now. Tell me, who's Freddie Stevenson, the man that you are now?
A few years ago, I remember in college, they would always have speakers come in and ask us who we are. I wouldn't have been able to answer the question. It probably would have had something to do with football. I'm a fullback for Florida State. I want to play in the NFL. But now it's just simple. I'm Freddie Stevenson, man of purpose.
This is a passion of mine. The whole premise behind the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast is to spotlight the fact that it is now time for you to get your dope comeback story.
Hey, say Jazzie Conversations with Jazz. Jazzie Conversations with Jazz. Say Jazzie Conversations with Jazz. Jazzie Conversations with
Jazz. Every Monday, I call people into a studio and we dig into their comeback stories, because I know that we see people in their glory and we see people when they're on top, when they can have that silver lining to them, but we all go through some things, right? We all go through some things, and I think once we're real with people and we let people know the trials and tribulations that we've gone through, it only makes us human and it connects one of us.
So I just want to know, what would be your advice to someone who is looking to start their own podcast?
First and foremost, let me back up. Find your voice. What are you going to talk about? Is it something that people want to listen to? How long will your podcast be? What's going to be the consistency of your podcast? Are you going to do it like weekly, daily? Are you going to do it monthly? So once you find that, because that's going to indicate if somebody wants to listen to your podcast or not. I do know how I'm doing it. I'm doing it with God. I'm doing it because this is a passion of mine. And when you are passionate about something, you're not going to stop. So it really it comes down to how bad do you want it.
It definitely comes down to how bad do you want it. And I know that if you are here and you're watching this podcast, I know that you want it very, very bad. And we all know that the formula for a comeback story is God. Using the right resources effectively and doing the necessary work. With all three of those things, you are definitely on your way for your comeback. Listen, Jazzie crew, it is a fantastic Monday, September 1st, the 9th month of the year. So let's get it. We have September, October, November, December. We have 4 more months in the year of 2025. So let's make every day count, Jazzie crew. So happy Labor Day. Happy Monday. You know that Monday is my favorite day of the week. You know, we set new goals. You know, we have new wins and we have a better mindset to accomplish all of those things that we said that we would. So we have to put some checks in those boxes. Okay. So listen. One of the biggest checks that I need for you to make sure that's on your to-do list is attending my 4-year podcast anniversary live show. Listen, I am so elated. I am so excited because you are literally watching me in real time go after my dreams. You see that sign back there? That sign says dreams. Like my entire workspace says dreams all around my office, right? And so one of the dreams that I had, one of my goals, and it's no longer a dream anymore because we're bringing it to fruition. Like I have done that thing, right? I've sealed the deal. We are going to be in the beautiful space of Catapult Lakeland this year for the 4-year podcast anniversary live show. Like, this is a space like none other. It is one of the most innovative buildings here in Polk County, centered right here in Lakeland, Florida at 502 East Main Street. So I want to see you there from noon to 6. I have built a platform that has told you over 163 at this point comeback stories, because I truly believe that you can come back from anything. This is going to be a celebratory event. Do I have guests? Yes, I have a ton of them that I'm going to be introducing to you this week. Do I have vendors? Yes, you know that we have vendors here. Do I have a live DJ? Yes, I do. DJ Kim Blaze is going to come and curate the soundtrack again this year. So check in that box too. Do I have live performances? Do I have entertainment? Will there be food? Will there be drinks? Check, 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 check. Will there be networking? Of course. And where will there be an authentic version of me, your host, Jasmar Jas Bennett? You can definitely put a check in that box as well. And so I invite you to come. Tickets are on sale right now, and they are 15% off. So I am giving you a Labor Day sale, folks. Make sure that you head over to eventbrite.com and you purchase your tickets before they go back to the regular price. I am also so elated for the sponsors who have reached out to me. You can also be a sponsor as well. I still have spots for corporate sponsors. I also have an opportunity for you to be a vendor. Those vendor spots are going to fill very soon. Half of them are gone already, and the event is November 8th. So I really want to see you there, especially if you have a business. I would love for you to come and use my space, my platform, my community to spotlight your business. All right. So November 8th from noon to 6 p.m. at Catapult Lakeland. All right. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so enlightening. And I can't wait to see you there. Okay. But you know why you're here. You already know why you're here. You are here because you know that I have a phenomenal guest for you, right? And so I just want to start off by saying, from the moment that I met this spectacular, sweet, intelligent, kind, innovative guest, the moment that I met her, her aura was so bright. It's like she was giving off positive energy, because she had a bright smile. She was very transparent with the audience. We sat on a panel together, and I just remember her smile. I remember the intonation of her voice. It just was so kind and so genuine and so sincere. And so she is going to be our next guest. All right. So for episode 163, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce to you Miss Thuy Nguyen. All right. So Miss Thuy Nguyen is turning her own comeback into a movement of empowerment. Thuy knows what it means to stand at the top, lose it all, and then rise again with a new purpose. In her journey, she's learned that the roles we once played don't define us forever, and that showing up for yourself is the first step in helping those who feel overlooked and counted out. Today, Thuy channels that mission into the creator class movement and her work with Bloom Street Wealth and Equity Partners, offering a hand to those who need to know that they are not alone. She's here to be the guide she once needed herself, turning her personal story into a platform for others to find their own resilience. This isn't about her own transformation. It's about lifting others up and showing that even when you think you're counted out, there's a path forward. So I am so excited to share Thuy's journey and the heart behind her mission. I want you to follow her on her socials. But I want to say, happy Monday, Thuy. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, the energy I'm already feeling. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Thank you.
I thank you. Listen, when we first met one another, we were at a beautiful event brought to us by Okima Lewis, who is a phenomenal woman in her own right. I love the space that she created for women women of God, women of purpose, and just meeting you there because we sat beside one another on the panel. Like your energy, it was like I just call people like you like light people because you bring light. Even though we know everyone goes through their day to day, everyone goes through their struggles. It feels good to be around people who are happy, who are positive, and just who are nice. So thank you for that energy, Twee.
Well, you're welcome. I couldn't even shut it down. I couldn't. It just.
And I love that. I love that. It's undeniable. It was befitting of the event. It's just befitting of it's your what do you call it? Like it's your business card. It's your personal business card. Like that aura that you give someone when you first meet them. It is so very important. And so you just have that light, girl.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. And then you created one of the most cutest videos. I think I used that promo or that reel for a while. I was like, okay, Twee has us looking all beautiful and stuff. Thank you. So I love it. I love it. I look at your socials and I'm like, she's just like this social media butterfly. She's coming into her own. When I watch your page, it's like I'm watching you come into your own. So do you love social media? Because some people have like a love-hate relationship with it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you know what? I had this conversation with someone the other day too, and they're like, "Your social media is evolving," and I'm like, "You know what? It is," and it's almost if you watch it from the beginning to where I'm at, it literally, even though you don't know my story yet, you can tell there's something going on.
Yes.
And you can tell the tone, the coloring, I mean, everything in there. So I would say, like everyone else, we started off like, oh, social media is going to be the thing. We got to get out there. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it.
Yes.
But now I don't think of social media as my business card or a way to influence. I just think about it as a way to talk to a best friend I haven't seen or heard from or have yet met.
Gotcha.
So I'm not like looking for numbers to be a big influencer. I'm just looking for the people who need it. And so I just want to use that platform enough to spread for people to find me, and whoever is going to need me will find me.
Listen, I'm going to tell you that is really how I approach social media as well, and not to compare at all. Some people, well, a lot of people who are in the business of trying to help me grow this platform, etc. My mentality is still like yours. My mentality is like, no, I don't want to use this color to draw this person. Like I don't want to change this just to raise numbers or to, it's like I struggle with it because and it's just like with me, like the messaging is just like, Jazz, you got to do it. Like if you want this, if you want, like you've got to. So I'm in the process of struggling with that because my mentality is just like yours. And I believe in your mentality because there's tons of people who have grown their social media without the goal of growing their social media. They just want to be who they are, to be genuine and just attract their tribe genuinely and not do all the gimmicky. And I know it's not gimmicky, but gimmicky, business driven, research driven. And I get it because I respect both sides. So I'm struggling and I'm trying to happy median.
But that's where you find the gems in it, right? It's like that struggle, you're going to find the gem and somehow it's almost like even though you feel that way, you're going to make sure your authentic self is going to show up. So even if it has the colors or whatever that's going to bring you numbers, it's still you because even you, like me, we're true to our integrity. So whatever we're going to do, it's always going to be like, we're still going to say no to what we need to say no to. And we're still going to be open to what we're like, you know what? Okay, this is not really detrimental. This doesn't hurt who I am. This doesn't hurt what I'm trying to build. So let's try it. Let's try it.
Listen, and you're right. You are absolutely right. So I'm trying to be more open. And it's not stubborn. For those of you who think it's stubborn, I'm not being stubborn. I'm not being stubborn. I am evolving. And we were talking earlier before we got on. We're talking about, just growth. It's just a growth process. It's beautiful. You were saying that growth it's fantastic, and it's beautiful. And I look at growth as it being all of the emotions, because I can tell you, just as sure as I'm feeling so good about my growth, it's like something will test that growth. And it's like, growth, you don't feel good right now. You don't feel good right now because I already know what I should do, but it is not what I want to do.
Ooh, yeah.
So growth, you are not my best friend right now, growth. And so how do you, what's your means of just growing and evolving organically and letting it come with the things when you're tested and all of the things? Like what's your method behind that?
There's such a 180 for me from where I was at and where I am right now. And I used to think self-preservation was a thing,
Yeah.
And in what I thought self-preservation was isolation, and I was like, I can't talk about it. I can't let people see it. I have to have this outer facade for whatever it is that I need them to see about me. And the turmoil inside was just building and building and building. And it just got to the point for me, I'm like, it's not really growth. It's just survival, And in the last 2 years, and I say this openly, and I've said it for the last 2 years, God has strategically placed people in my life who have forced me to step out of that isolation, almost dragging me because they know me. And I'm talking about people who just met me. I'm not even talking about my friends for 20, 25 years plus, but something in them was like, come with us, They would call on me, check on me, and I'm just like, why? And I wouldn't even respond, unless it has something to do with business, right?
Are you right?
Oh yeah, I'll respond to that. But if it got personal, I would just be isolated. And somehow or another, this beautiful group of people God placed in my life just kept reaching out and kept reaching out and kept reaching out. And finally, it got to the point where I couldn't handle it anymore. Like I couldn't keep it internalized anymore, that it came out like vomit.
Yeah.
And you could physically see it now, like you could see it in my face, you could see it in my coloring, you could see it in my attitude and my tone. And I love what you said about me, because it's been something that everyone has said about me since I was a kid, about my smile, and that smile left.
Yeah.
Like, I might have smiled, but you couldn't see that light, or that, because I didn't feel it anymore, And so I think it was not being so closed off, not being so drawn in. And for the first time saying, you know what, it's okay for me to look unpolished. It's okay for me to look ugly. It is okay. I literally would go to work crying, like you could tell. And I would break down in the middle of the day crying. Yeah. And those who cared for me and loved on me did. And those who I thought, who now you can physically see it, would be there for me, were not.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I said, you know what, when you show up in whatever phase of life and whatever emotion, whatever you have going on, the growth that comes from that will show you who's going to be there, who's going to support you, what's going to be there. And more than ever, I've learned that partnerships, collaborations, and friendships are more important and more necessary than ever.
Yeah. Listen, I feel like listening to you, it's a tale of life for anyone looking at you. Like as I really heard what you said, I'm picturing myself like as this little girl, like in my little girl phase, and just watching just the growth, like your teenage years, your high school years, your adult life. And it's like what you thought would have been as a little girl, like with those bright eyes, it's like it gets real along this path, and things change. And sometimes people that you think are going to show up for you the way that you want them to, it's not even them that save you sometimes. If that is the right way to articulate it. But we, in that moment of our vulnerability, when we're going through things, it feels like we need someone to save us. Like, can somebody just help me? I'm smiling, but God, can someone see that I'm not really smiling? And it's like, you didn't see it, but this complete stranger, thank you, Jesus, for sending someone that sees me and that is pouring into me. And so I sitting here listening to you, I was just taken on a journey, because I'm like, yeah, from this, who would have known, like, what this little girl did not know all of this, that she would have to endure to be a woman and to grow and to be someone who's a resource to others, who's a light source for others, knowing that we have to be a light source for ourselves. So that was real. And it's life. It's just real life. And so let's take it back a little bit, because you said something, that you've been growing up. Like, that's something that people always noticed about you, was your smile. Thuy, take us through your life, like your journey. Like, where are you from? What was your life like? What did you want to be when you grew up?
Yeah. Okay. So first shocker right here. I am born and raised right here in Winter Haven, Florida. Right in the hospital. Okay. And some people are like, you're first of all, you're from Florida, like really from Florida.
Right,
yes.
Right. Because you don't give Florida vibes at all. I'm just going to tell you. I'm just going to show you and tell you.
And then the other thing is, yes, I was birthed right here in Polk County. I don't get Polk County vibes either. If you know, you know. Like,
right.
You can deny it as much as you want, but if you know, you know. And so I was born here to my mom and my dad, who are both immigrants from Vietnam. And I'm first generation here. And that in itself has its own story, First of all, growing up Vietnamese American, in a predominantly Polk County in the 80s. Okay. That, you know what? My story is probably an identity story from beginning to end, and really trying to weave through who I am and what I am and what am I here to do. And my parents owned restaurants right here in town. And from a little girl, I was working it, my parents are like, you're going to be by our side every single day, every single time. And yeah, you got school, but who cares, And so we lived in Orlando for a short time. And if you know anything about Orlando, I grew up in Orlando in Pine Hills.
Oh, girl. All I was Thuy, I'm sorry, but like Beyonce is like, I'm a survivor. Like that is all that's wrong in my head.
Yes. So I grew up in Pine Hills, and I don't really have memories of my childhood. There's a lot of things that happened there that I'm going through now as an adult in my 42s. And, people ask me about that. And I honestly don't remember much of my life until we moved back to Winter Haven.
Gotcha. And
then my parents opened up the restaurants. And then from there, I just really remember working with my parents, and they put me into a private school. I was, I went to Westwood, and then they put me into private school at All Saints. And that is, I think, the first time I got a taste of something different. And we were in our own little bubble. Mm-hmm. And at that moment, I didn't even feel like I was in Polk County anymore, but I was in a different place now, trying to keep up with a different identity, and didn't really fit in there. I've never really fit in anywhere. I fit in enough to be, I would say, accepted, but never really enough to mean anything, And I would say, like, in that time frame working with my parents, that's where I got my worst and my best trait. Okay. My worst and my best trait is that I have the best work ethic you will ever find in anyone at anywhere. I am so committed to that. And that became my identity to the point it became toxic, and people would be like, wow, you work so much. But for me, it was a badge of honor. Like, it was the only thing I could hold on to that I did well, And so overachieving, overdoing, everything, there wasn't anything I couldn't do well enough, And then I think the first turning point in my life is when I became pregnant at 18. So I have a son who is 23 right now, and that was the first turning point, and I would say the first real taste of life that I kind of got. And you know, being a single mom here, you know what, even if I compare it thinking back, it was so simple and so wonderful. But at the time, it was just working. And I don't have any bad memories of that time. I just remember working so hard and just trying to raise my son and just make it. And just make it. But when you're young, you're so naive and you have no fear, like none. And you just attack and you just do. And you have no conception of time either. You know, so looking back, I'm like, wow, those were great times, but it was a little hard, you know.
Did your parents? How were your parents? What were their thoughts on that? Because you know, traditionally, and what we know, in terms of ethnicities and just period, you know, if you're in All Saints, they've poured into, you know, investing into your education, and then it's like, wait, what? You're what? Like, how was that conversation? What was that time like?
So it wasn't even really a conversation because they found out. I didn't even have, you know, I was so fearful of what was to happen and what was going. And I wasn't even living with them at that time. You know, I was already living on my own. And but it was so scared because it had that internal kind of guilt that has been instilled in me since I was a little girl. And that's now looking back, that's why I was an overperformer. I was looking for validation and looking for, you know, when you are neglected of love, and nothing against my parents because they come from a very traditional Asian household. Like there's no hugging, there's no kissing, there's no I love you. You know, you show your love, like you got a house, you got some food, you're going to a private school, we're giving to you, you know, but in reality, there's still something in us as humans, as people that we need nurturing and love. And for me, the language that I needed, I was neglected from, you know? And so, you know, what do you think came from that? I'm first generation American, poured into me, given me all of the privilege so that I could then be something, so I could turn around and take care of them, you know? And to them, all that washed away, you know?
Are you the only child?
I actually have an older brother.
Okay.
But again, he's the oldest. He is the boy, you know.
Goodness. Yes.
My brother could never do anything wrong, and he did a lot of things wrong.
Yes.
You know, so it was difficult. I was essentially the black sheep of the family. You know, we were never really bonded with the rest of my aunts and uncles and cousins, but I was constantly being compared to. And you know, I think that's where my need for a savior, you know, and my need to try to control outcomes kind of began, because it was like, okay, like I'm not going to get what I feel like I need. So somehow I'm going to hold on tight and squeeze whatever I can out of people and try to guide them in the path to give me those things, you know? So my parents took it really hard. They were not with me through the pregnancy. They didn't. My mom came to the hospital right after birth, gave me like some food, said hello, and then disappeared. And then they didn't come back around until 3 months later.
Wow.
But then you could not separate my son from them. You know, and so I would say my son kind of bridged enough of a gap for that communication to open back up. But it was difficult. And, you know, at the time, my son's father and I were together up until he was 6 months. And then we separated, and it was just me and my son living on our own, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's tough.
So, you know, it took a long time for me to stand here and be like, okay with how my parents acted during that time, but I also don't fault them that now either, because, you know, we come from the backgrounds that we come from.
Right.
and I think forgiveness is still something that I'm searching for in that.
Oh, Thuy,
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
There it is. We were talking about listening to these voices and just voices. I promise you, like, forgiveness has been, it's been eating away at me. It is something that I am just going to be transparent and just say that I want to work towards.
Yeah.
Because other than God knowing my heart that I want to forgive, I'm not necessarily taking the steps to learn how to really forgive.
Yeah.
But it's coming. Like, I feel like I'm on I feel like not even necessarily, I don't want to use force, but I just feel like it is time. It's just time to just fully forgive. So much so that I created my first panel for this podcast live show, the anniversary show. It is going to be heavily focused on forgiveness.
What?
Something is so this, that's why I said that voice. Yeah, this is it. Okay. And so like, it's not something that I'm running away from, but it is just something that is truly testing me. And even when I try to do right in a certain situation, I get like a brick wall, and it's just like, so I'm like, God, is this you just saying, no, you got to put in the work, and you got to forgive.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to put I don't want to say that this is what's happening, but what it feels like is I feel like in a certain area, it's like I'm going to put everything that makes you feel so uncomfortable, and I'm testing you right here. Can you forgive? Even if this comes, can you forgive? You say you want to give forgiveness. You have this platform, and you're talking about you have to have God, use the right resources effectively, and do the necessary work.
Yeah.
Okay, let's put you to the test. Are you this person? Are you going to be about what you're saying? And I'm just like, it's just like, oh. So, that forgiveness.
Yeah.
We that space of forgiveness is just. I even Thuy had a best friend to call me out of the blue, and I when you are connected with people, I think you can feel your rhythms, your vibes at certain moments, because there have been certain moments where I'm like, y'all can't feel that I'm going through something, and they just did not, because it just wasn't their place. But I think at this point, and in this space, she was appointed to talk to me, and she asked me everything. She had a dream.
Yeah.
And it was about what I'm going through in order to try to forgive, right?
Yeah.
And with the person, with the space. And she was just like, I had a dream about this and you and this person. And she's just like, she's asking me all of these questions. And she's just like, so friend, you know that in order for you to get over this, and in order for you to get what is coming to you, because it's coming to you, you know that you're going to have to forgive, right? And I was just like, how it can't be any clearer than that. Like, that is the message that I continue to receive. So I receive it, but it's hard. So what were you saying about forgiveness, Thuy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. And I like what you just shared too, because you were really transparent in that moment. Like, people see us or anyone in any space that you're out there, and they think you have it all together, and they think like you're so far in steps or in movements.
Yeah.
But the truth is, where you see us ahead is where you see us ahead. But there are still certain parts within us that we're still working on actively, you know?
Absolutely.
Like, we know how to say the right things because we're reading it too. We know how to do the right things because we're working on it too. But it doesn't mean that we're at the end of that journey there, you know? And I think this is going to be crazy. My journey with God has been placed back in me in these 2 years. And sometimes I tell my best friends, I like regurgitate my Sunday stories with them. And they're like, you've never heard this story before. And I'm like, I mean, maybe I have, but it's never resonated in a way that made sense to me. Right. And so for me, I got baptized at 13. My brother has always been in the church, has always kind of pulled me in that direction. And I went to Bible summer school camp one time. And after being in that bubble and feeling I was like, I gotta get baptized.
Mm-hmm.
The moment I got baptized, I walked. 13, got baptized, walked, and never went back to church. It just, for me, felt so like I had to be perfect. And that's where all of the wounds and all of the things I had, and just at 13, you're like, what does this 13-year-old have to, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And, looking back now, I was like, wow, like I told a new person who had been placed in my life, who had been talking to me a lot about God and her experience and just sharing with me. And I remember sharing with her and I was like, did you know that you don't have to be perfect to come to him? And I was like, nope, that's not what I know and remember. And she's like, why do you think that? And I'm like, how can someone so full of love be so accepting? She was like, do you not know the Bible at all?
Right. Right. Right.
I was like, I don't, And so she shared with me, like, everyone that he touched and went through had issues, had problems, was not the most good, was not the most faith-based, was not the most divine already.
Absolutely.
And that his purpose was not to find those people. His purpose was to find those who needed him the most and pour love, and then have them go pour into others, because the person who walks with you is the person who can walk with you in your journey, right?
Absolutely.
If you want to walk with someone who has it all together and looks good and looks polished and is beautiful all the time, that's comfort.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's just comfort and ease. And nothing comes from comfort and ease.
Right.
You want somebody to walk with you that can hold your hand when you're bleeding and you're on your last breath. And it's hard, not just for you going through it, but hard for the person next to you.
Right.
That's true love. That's true compassion. That's true empathy. And that's what forgiveness is, right? Like forgiving yourself enough to love someone else, right? Because I truly believe that. Like it was so hard for me to love myself. It was so easy for me to love onto others because I knew how I wanted to be loved.
Right.
And so I'm like, if I could love people the way I want to be loved, surely they're going to love me back. Surely they are. And that just wasn't the case, and you mentioned Okima I met 3 years ago. I mean, I knew her before, but she came back into my life and I kind of went with her as business coaching. And she was like, I don't need to talk to you about business. I need to talk to you about you. And I was like, oh, I didn't.
Yeah. Wait. Time out. Like, what?
Yes. But she saw something in me in that moment. And she literally just told me 3 phrases to tell myself. Tell yourself that I'm valuable. I'm sorry, my girls. Tell yourself you're valuable, tell yourself you're worth it, and tell yourself that you love you in the mirror. And I was like, sure, great.
Yeah.
Could not do it. And in that moment, I knew something was missing.
Yeah.
And the thing that I was looking for was the thing inside myself, which is probably harder than anything I've ever done.
Yeah. It is that work. So it's revealing. And so it's great that you did do that exercise because it is very, very telling. It's very telling. Like if anybody has ever done that. And so knowing that about yourself, I know that catapulted you into, into the spaces that you are now. And so, just going back, you were a single mom, your son is, you said 23 now, right?
Yes.
And so coming into the woman that you are, like your college years, like did you go to college? What was your goal in terms of career? Because I know the focus part of you never goes away. This overachiever never goes away. So now I would feel like with the son, it's amplified because now you feel like you really have something to prove. Like where did that take you?
Yeah. And I'm so glad you said that, right? Like I had something to prove.
Yeah.
Like first of all, I'm a statistic, 18, single woman, Asian on top of that in a small town. And it just seemed like the odds were stacked against me, and I had something to prove, right? Because like everyone was doubting me, everyone was doing this, and I'm like, you know what? My overachieving, validating self needs to prove everybody I can do this. And so I was doing nails at the time, and I was doing really good. And for 10 years I was doing that. And about 5 years I was like, oh, I can't do this. Like, there wasn't enough security in there. And money has always been a very personal, primal priority thing in my life, and it was like, but at that time it was like, I got to make money. I got to make money. You need money. I got to make money. I got to have more money. And so I went from being a nail tech going into nursing school, and I didn't want to be a nurse to begin with. And it's full circle how it happens. I went into Polk State Community College at 18, 6 weeks after having my son, and said, I need something. And they're like, you should be a nurse. And I'm like, I should absolutely not be a nurse. Like, you want me to do what? Like, I'm thinking hospitality, business, like something where I can talk, like be with people, mastermind. And they were like, you should be a nurse because there's grants out there. You'll go to school for free. You'll come out making a lot of good money. So they were looking at a logical point. And I was like, no, I'm going to go for business. So I started taking prerequisites towards that. And then I really got into science and I loved it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be a pharmacist, right? Like, it had a lot of math in it. It had a lot of logical thinking. I was like, this is great. This is where I need to go. And I went in toward UCF. My son was 4 at the time, and my brother lived in Orlando, but my parents at that time were a big part of my son and taking care of him while I was working and going to school. And I was like, there's no way I can go to this big university and make it in Orlando with no help, no nothing. And I'm like, I'm going to be stuck in Polk County. Like, what can I do? Where can I go? And at that time, because I was heavy in the science classes, I was with a lot of nurses. And one girl that I got very close to, is still one of my friends today. She was like, just come to nursing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this nursing thing. And I got the opportunity because at that time they had like a transition where you could get a taste of it for 8 weeks and see if you liked it. And in that time, I got to take care of my uncle who had a stroke. And didn't know who I was, couldn't even recognize me, was barely like coherent enough, right? And I got to take care of him. And I said in that moment, if all I am is a resource to my family, that is what I will be, and that came from the need to take care of other people. And so that launched my nursing career, and I've been a nurse for 14 years. And it's been one of the most beautiful things I've ever done to take care of someone in their moments of need. It grew me in my empathy because I probably have more empathy now that I don't want to be a nurse than when I did being a nurse, but it kind of grew that in me. And it now looking back, I see why I needed it, because I have to have it for myself, and I didn't know how. I joke with my friends, there's a feelings wheel. Did you know that? There's a feelings wheel.
Please tell me about this feelings wheel. I feel like I need to know about it.
Yes.
So
one of my friends was like, you should start going to therapy. She saw it a long time ago. And I told her straight up, I don't want to go because I know what built me is why I am where I am and why I have the strength that I have.
You know what? Sitting back here like that is so logical. Like, if somebody was to tell me that, it would be like, yeah, that makes so sense. It makes so much sense. And then because I think you feel on the opposite or conversely, that somebody's just going to pick apart that, like, yep, what you thought was strength is not. And it's like, no, like cognitively, I don't want to hear that. Like, I want to be in my frame of what I think is right now. Nothing else. So I get it. I totally get it.
And I knew that, right? Yeah. And that was that self-preservation, right? Like, in whatever craziness it was, I was like, I cannot break that right now.
Yeah.
Until I had no choice. And so in that time frame, the journey toward finances happened. I got pregnant with my second child, who is 6 now. And she was pregnant during 17, 18. And I was doing wonderful, just purchased my first home. I was married. I had a wonderful career. I was starting to go into administration. Like things were blossoming, okay? But blossoming very easy. Like I was just stepping into it. It wasn't even something I had to try, okay? And I got the opportunity to start in life insurance first, and it just opened my eyes to a different world. And that's where almost like the erosion in the mountain, like people look at a mountain and they're like, look how strong, look how sturdy, look how it is. But they don't know that that mountain was a solid stone before. And through years of erosion, there's cracks, there's crevices, and these valleys that you see were never there before, right? So what you do see in strength is also encompassed with a lot of cracks. And my cracks were starting to show. Because I had curated my life to be what I thought everyone needed to see.
Right.
And the cracks and the crevices that people couldn't see were starting to shine light. Like you could see them now, you know? And the first crack was I didn't dream anymore. And I don't even know if I ever had a dream or had a goal. It was just, I need to make money, take care of my kid. I need to make money, take care of my family. I need to take care because now I have another daughter. You know, my parents are getting older. I need money to take care of them, you know? And nowhere in there did you once hear anything about me. I would self-sacrifice till I couldn't anymore. And I was working like 120, 130, 150 hours every 2 weeks grinding. And I loved it.
Oh, goodness.
And I loved it. It hid me from reality. Right? Because I was in a bubble at work. I was grinding. I could be the best here. I could, you know, have all the accolades here because I didn't have to deal with my life. I didn't have to deal with me. And so that first crack came and it was almost eye-opening to be around other people who are trying to be entrepreneurs, right? Trying almost like didn't want to work the 9 to 5, even though I worked 12 hours a shift, but didn't want to be in corporate. I'm like, what? You can make your own time. And I was so averse to it because my parents were entrepreneurs.
Right.
And they were working all the time. We never had vacations. We never had family time. We never had anything. But I was doing the same thing as a nurse. So what I was running from, I was running to because it was the only thing I knew. And it didn't even dawn on me. Because I was just so busy doing it. And so I got into life insurance, started getting to this group, started going to, you know, seminars, personal growth seminars, you know, and as corny as it sounds, if it's meant for you, it's meant for you.
It is meant for you.
If it speaks into you, it's because you need it. And they were like, what else do you want, Thuy? And I was like, nothing. I make $120,000 a year. I have my house. I have my husband. I have my kids. Like I don't need money. And I thought I didn't need money. They're like, but what else? And I'm like, what else is there? You know? And that's when Okima came into my life. And I'm like, oh, there's me. What about Thuy? What do you want? And I'm like, I didn't even know how to answer those things. Like they would answer it. And mind you, I was doing wonderful. I was pushing great numbers. I was doing a lot of things. And they would always be like, what do you want to do, Thuy? And I'd be like, I don't know. Like I couldn't figure that out. So the cracks started showing even more. I didn't want to be with that group anymore for a lot of reasons and was trying to kind of go out on my own and figure it out. And in that, I got pregnant again. And my third daughter, my third child, my second daughter, who is 4 right now, that's when the cracks in the marriage started to come through. I was as emotional and loving and open as I am now. That's not who I was 3 years ago. I was very closed off, very protective of myself. You know what I mean? I mean, any type of vulnerability, emotion, I would shut down. Like we're done with the conversation. I can't even go there. And so those cracks in the marriage started, and I unfortunately chose someone who fit what I knew as love instead of choosing someone that I knew I needed, you know? But that's also a lot of pressure to put on someone to be like, I need you to be the person for me because I can't be that, right?
Right.
I mean, that's me looking back now, but in it, I didn't understand that. So that is kind of what took me on my self journey, because that's when the divorce process started to happen. And still on the outside, I was still performing enough where people were okay. But when we started getting into the thick of the divorce, and, you know, it's interesting to see how someone can love you so hard and so well to turn around and show you what they really think of you.
Oh, Jesus, Thuy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. And a person who needs validation and needs to be told good things, to hear those things was very it took me, I said this the other day. I said I really think I was high functioning depressed. I really think that I didn't understand why I was crying every day. I didn't understand why I could go to work, but I couldn't cook, I couldn't clean, I couldn't care for my babies. I could barely focus on work, right? By then, I already was working on my third business privately, you know, still doing insurance, still creating this ecosystem that I believed so hard in because I just wanted to help other Thuys out there, but also could not follow through.
Yeah.
You know? And everything that I was good at was no longer good at, because I started therapy, back to therapy, things started therapy, and they started pointing out why I was so high functioning, why I was so, you know, able to kind of overwork, why these things were happening. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my whole life has been a farce.
Right. Like, go figure. Like, wait, what? Yeah.
And from my own personal growth, you know, and wanting to become an entrepreneur, I did not want to be a mom. I would tell people all the time, like, I don't want to be a mom. Just put me to work. Like, I can do that. Like, I don't know how to be a mom. When I got pregnant with my second child, I was like, how can I love a whole nother human being more than I love my son? You know, it was just so scary and traumatizing for me. And like, generational curses are a real thing.
Yes, they are.
My mom had 3 marriages. I've only been married once, but she had 3 marriages, so she couldn't get that portion of her. My mom was a wonderful worker. She was a single mom, took care of me and my brother. Like, she was doing all kinds of amazing things as a woman, but maybe not as fulfilled as a mother, right? And so for me, I had this natural, like, you want me to be a mom? And somehow I have 3 beautiful babies, you know? After my second child into my third, I want to be a mom.
Yeah.
Right. That's when that identity started to come about, when we were talking about, you know, what are your dreams? So I want to be a mom. Like, I don't want to work anymore. I don't want to do this. So now the whole aversion came where I don't want to be a nurse anymore. And then obviously COVID came. Like, I look back at the story of my life, and there has been so many things that came externally too, things you don't even have. And, you know, obviously God didn't make the pandemic for me,
you know,
but the pandemic came and showed me, like, I love what nursing did for me, but I don't want to be a nurse anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I was able to compartmentalize those things. I can no longer compartmentalize those things.
Yeah.
And so emotionally, mentally, physically, it just doesn't do well for me anymore, you know? And then the thought of, I want to be a mom, so I want to make my own schedule, you know? I'm not saying I don't ever want to work, but I want to participate in my children's life on my terms.
Absolutely.
You know, and here recently, just another thing, you know, like, I had gotten into a car accident, and I am limited in my work ability now. And now I have to go to the doctors, and they're like, oh, well, your absences are happening, this. And I'm like, so crazy to me that you're going to ding me for these things,
Yeah.
but you also encourage me to take care of myself and my family, but you don't really mean it.
Right.
You know? And so that's kind of like through all of those things, the identity has shifted, but the divorce and therapy are probably the two things that have shifted it the most, you know, and turning to God in that has been something that has grown even more in me. And it's honestly like when you have nowhere to turn and nowhere to go and you're literally at rock bottom, you're just like, what do I do? And you know that the only way to go is up. I know people say that all the time, but I don't think what they talk about when you're at rock bottom is that you have the opportunity now to build on sturdy foundation.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing more sturdy than rock bottom. Isn't that crazy? Like there's nothing more sturdy than rock bottom because your identity, who you were, what you were is gone. You have the opportunity to reinvent, rebuild, heal all the wounds, all the things. Financially, you're probably strapped. You're in a bad place, but you're starting at rock bottom. So what else can they take? What else can they do?
Right.
You know, nothing, you know?
Nothing.
And I say that confidently here, but know, Jasmar, that I have an entire back crew of people who love me who are telling me this too, right? So like right now I sound cool, really confident, like I know what I'm saying. But mind you, I'm on the phone crying with them and they're reminding me these things.
Yeah.
You know, I would just say like the journey and where everything has taken me is self-actualization, not self-preservation, you know?
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. And so would you say that one is stronger than the other, or would you say that the goal would be finding a balance of incorporating both of them in your life?
Yeah. I would say self-preservation is not on my radar at all. For me, self-preservation is super ego, right? Is in a place of survival, is in a place of being wounded, right? And really doesn't have a place unless you need to survive.
Gotcha.
Right. Yeah. So for me, self-preservation is somewhere where I want to get as far as possible from, right? Self-actualization gives me the ability to love more, forgive more, be kind more, you know, because self-actualization gives you the ability to give.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you're self-preserving, you're not giving.
Very true. Very true.
And it's not, I don't want to say like out there that it's a bad thing. It's the stage of where you're at and what you need to go through, right? But for me, learning more about his stories, learning about the people in the Bible, their story, it's always self-actualization to give.
Yes. Yeah.
Whatever it is, whether it's you emotionally, mentally, whether it's a service, whether it's pure love, like the only way to live a fulfilled and purposeful life of joy right now is to give. And I think that's where I'm going to, because I would give in a place of self-preservation before.
Right.
And I'm learning how to give in a place of whole and healthy so that it affects other people in that same way.
That makes a lot of sense. And I get it. Like I understand and yeah, being in that space of giving where you are now means more. And it does more. I think it serves more and I think it gives back to you more as well. Although it's not just about you anymore, but it does do that.
Yeah.
Thuy, what are you most proud of right now about yourself in the space that you're in right now?
Woo! that's hard too, right? Because I'm still learning how to love myself. Okay, what am I most proud of myself right now? I just, to put it in a physical way, right?
Yeah.
Because we have social media and I have like, I don't know, 50 million photos in my
right. Right.
I look a lot through my phone, obviously for social media reasons, and I look a lot. And in my journey in the past 2 years alone, physically, I have changed the way I look.
Yeah.
The way I talk is different. You know, I used to think I was an introvert, which is the craziest thing ever because I'm not.
Yeah.
Right? And I take it back to the smile that you said in the beginning. I had a radiant smile before, but I don't think I was smiling for me.
Yeah.
You know, I was smiling to attract other people to me to get whatever I could, you know. And then I went through a phase where there was no smiling at all, you know, and then it became like, okay, a grin because things are getting better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say the most proudest moment I have now is I smiled genuinely, like where it also feeds me, not just feeds somebody else, you know, because I'm learning that I have purpose now. That I think I was so limited in what I thought my purpose was before, which was taking care of my family, period. Like that's all I thought I was good for.
Yeah.
You know? And now I'm realizing that I don't need the validation or value from other people. I mean, I still do. I'm working through it. But now I have this need and urge to be more purposeful for others. You know, and I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know how that's going to end up, but I know the path that's put before me now is putting me in a position that now breathes life into me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm proud to know that I finally got to a place where I can receive that.
Yeah. That's good. So tell me about your ventures now. Tell me about this class creator, the creator class movement. Tell me all about that.
Yeah. So you know, in my journey in finances, it's been a little tumultuous too. I'm telling you, it's been a crazy ride for me. And it's been learning of myself, you know, and I have been in financial rooms, and those financial rooms tell me that this is the only answer. This is the best answer. And I'm coming back from a medical background. I'm coming from a place where I have a type A personality. I'm going to research what you're telling me. You know? You're right. It is good. But if you're telling me it's good and it is, and you're telling me this is good and it is, why is it only one thing? You know? And I myself was going on that personal financial journey, and people kept trying to put me in this box. And I'm like, your formula looks good, but it's like this gut intuition feeling like there's more. There is more. And in my journey and in my trials of doing those things, I'm like, does anybody not see what I see? Like, it's all good. Why are we limiting ourselves to only do one thing? Why are we not collaborating together? Like, I don't. You know? And I thought I had just like Newton's law created a new atom in this thought process.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm going to build it. If nobody out there is doing what I'm going to do, and I think like this is right, and the research shows that it's right, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So I went on a journey in 2023, started it, and my words for 2023 was purpose and joy. And I was like, I'm going to go find my purpose. I'm going to find my joy. And those keywords led me to strategic partners that I have inside Bloom Street Wealth and Equity Partners now. And they all have the same idea, you know, the same thing. And I was like, oh, cool. And that's like the whole law of attraction. I didn't believe that before. And manifestation, I didn't believe that before. But I see what it is, because when you're actively doing what you love, it is going to reflect back to you. You are going to find those people because you're seeking it, not because they came out of thin air, you know. And so the creator class came about because, you know, everyone talks about saving. and you need to, for sure. I'm not saying don't save, okay?
Yeah.
I'm just saying that a traditional wealth model is incomplete.
Mhm.
What worked for our parents and our grandparents and our great grandparents will not work for us today. We are in a new whole economic system,
Yeah.
a whole new integration of AI. Like, come on, like what? We're just gonna stuff money under a mattress or go put it in a bank, and we think we're gonna be good.
Right.
You know, or you're only going to follow one portion of a traditional model and then try to get bits of a modern model and think money's microwavable, it's going to come easy. No.
Yeah.
No. So I was trying to figure things out because I had got into this new community group of beauty professionals, and I was led there because I was in that profession before and I made a lot of money.
Yeah.
But nobody showed me how to do anything with it. And that's why I say my market is the Thuy market. I'm looking for women and men, but a lot of women just like me who have the capability of doing so much, but don't have the guidance or the formula or the path. And so the creator class came out from that. And essentially what it is taking the traditional model and adding creative wealth building on it. And what is creative wealth building? It's finding areas where you can now passively and actively make money that you don't have to show up for. Mm-hmm. And if you do show up for it, it's for a short time because you're building for the long game, right? What they do say is that you need X amount of income for sure, because again, we're not living in the 1950s anymore where you can live on one income, nor can you live on two incomes anymore. Yeah. So imagine being a single parent, you know, or even being married couple and still not being able to make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with a lot of intellectual property now, because that's what social media is, intellectual property.
Yeah.
It's creating, you know, and now we have this influx of coaches, which is a whole nother thing for me. You know, now there's like intellectual property. So it's like, okay, how do we go from creative wealth, which is using grants and other partnerships or capital or investments, to now investing in yourself?
Yeah.
Because the truth is, if we are not whole and healthy, whatever money decision, life decision, family decision we make is always going to be stunted one way or the other.
Right.
So the creator class movement really, you know, in a nutshell, is really building you to be capable enough to do whatever it is you need to do in your unique style, your unique mastery, your unique gifts.
Love it. I love that.
Placing it in a way that you now don't feel like you're in survival mode, but also being able to build that into someone else, because it doesn't matter how wealthy you are or how whole you are. If you're not leaving a legacy behind, not just your family, but in your community.
Yeah.
What are we really doing?
What are we doing? Yeah.
What are we really doing? Yeah.
So if people want to find out more about the creator class, how can they do it? Like, is it a subscription? Is it them reaching out to you, a website? How can they find out?
So my partners and I are building out the creator class. We really would like to start doing seminars and really go out there and kind of start hosting. I don't want to say events, but like some place where you can kind of go workshop, things like that. It's still in its infancy. You know, we're building out the manuscript for it now. We're slowly talking about it in pockets of group, but you can always get me on my social media, which is Money Tree Thuy. Yes. Our website is bloomstreetpartners.com. And I'm always out and about. You know, someone can hit you up. You just spread my number around, you know. I always tell people, like, I love to go out and have coffee and conversations. Like yeah, I think people think I'm a slight stalker because I will literally hit people up. And I'm like, I love what you're doing on social media. I would love to hear your story. You want to have coffee? I have yet to hear anybody. I have yet to hear anybody say yes to that. When they meet me in person, they're more apt to.
Yes.
they're like, who is this strange Asian woman wanting to have coffee with me?
So we are validating you today. Like, go get coffee with Thuy. Like, let her lead you down this money path. She knows what she's doing. But I'm getting into that space too. Like I typically, it's like an in-person or phone call, text, etc. But nothing beats. I don't know why I was about to say nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. But social media, but really nothing meets like that across the table, sitting side by side, conversation. So I see where you're going with it, and I can understand why you love it, because it's just a different energy, it's a different format, and I think it opens up the conversation even more.
Yeah. I also tell people I love business dinners too.
Yeah.
People are like, why you always want to do business dinners? I'm like, ooh, because when you full and you happy from your meal, you are so open to talk.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So we got to put you on the calendar for a business coffee or a business dinner.
Yes,
definitely. And I definitely want to see you at my 4-year podcast anniversary live show. I'm going to be able to see you sooner than that anyway. So we are about to see one another very soon at Okima's event. And so I cannot wait to see you there as well, because I know you're going to drop a lot of good gems there. So I look forward to seeing you soon. And so, Thuy, I want to say, thank you so much for your transparency. Thank you so much for just shedding light on your journey and just being so real, because, regardless of the light that we are seen in, especially when it's positive, especially when it's, people just see us with our stuff together with a smile on our face and we look so happy. There's always a story behind that as to how we are in this space. We're either at a good space where we are, we're fueled with confidence and, hey, we've done the things, we've done the work, or we are, and we're complacent. And we know that in life, there's never a place for complacency, because there's always growth in every season. And your story is a story of seasons. You morphed into the woman that you are today based off of what you wanted in different pockets and different time frames in your life. And men and women alike, that's just life. That's how we go through life. And that self-actualization that you are speaking of is very real. And I think that is the goal. Like, we don't want to leave this life without realizing who you truly are, having self-love for yourself, and then being able to pour into others, to give. I think that's what we were really made for.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And I think that's why I move very differently now, right? Being purpose driven. And I say that all the time. Whatever your purpose is, whatever it is, live by that. When you live to your fullest integrity and who you are is when you'll find the most joy and how you give the most joy. But I would say leaving this, I want to tell people, like, this isn't by any means, I'm not the end of that journey. I am in the thick of the journey. And from day to day, you're going to see me beautiful. You're going to see me ugly. You're going to see me, with it, not with it. And that is normal, and I think with social media and everything, they try to make it seem like you have to be polished all the time. And that's just not human nature.
Yeah, no,
it's just not human nature. So
it's not.
Thank you so much, Jasmine, for the opportunity that you've given me and this space. And I want to thank you for what you're doing, like sharing all the stories that you've shared. It's giving people hope. It's giving people somewhere to turn to, and letting people they're not alone. They're not alone.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it and I receive it. And so I know this will not be our last time. You are now officially a part of my Jazzie crew. And so those of you who have tuned in, thank you so much. Make sure that you share this podcast episode. We want everyone to hear phenomenal stories from all of the guests that we have. But Miss Thuy Nguyen has a phenomenal story that is still evolving. And so Make sure that you are following us on Facebook, IG, YouTube, and your favorite podcast platforms. Be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a review in the comment section, and share. And so I want you to always know that now is the time for your dope comeback. You can come back from anything with God using the right resources effectively and your willingness to do the necessary work. I will see you next Monday, and I will especially look forward to seeing you at my 4-year podcast anniversary live show going down November 8th from noon to 6 p.m. at Catapult Lakeland. You guys have a great, great week. See you later, Thuy.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.